This is Luton, and today I'm going to be having a look at a game on Conquest. Now this is an unscripted one, so again, if I have a lot of rambling then you'll have to just deal with that, guys. This is also quite a long round, it's half an hour long, so if you're not up for a long session of me talking through a gameplay, then this one you might want to skip over. But hopefully you'll want to stay and watch this one with me. So what I thought I would do with this is basically, I had a couple of questions been posting up on my recent video, and one guy was saying to me, like, how do you come up with your tactics, your thinking and all the rest of it. Now, like I've said loads of times, I'm not like some super pro player. I'm not someone who plays competitive or anything like this, and I would just class myself as an average player, but I do like to think about what I could do better. And the way that you can always look to do that is to assess your mistakes and look at what's gone wrong in a game. And I haven't watched this one since I played the game, so I'm watching this the first time through with you guys. So obviously the first section there, we just had some air combat, and basically what we were doing there was just clearing the airspace. We had those jets coming in and the helicopters as well, and I needed to obviously clear that out so that I could then move on. And that was just a combination of ECM, worker on the flares there with me, and the AA missiles. So when I'm coming up to this area, the first thing I'm really doing is sort of assessing, okay, where are the enemy, where do I need to be, where's my priority? And currently they had A and they also had D. I wanted to try and help slow down them taking C, because in this kind of situation you're better off trying to, especially at the beginning, take the ones that are currently in progress rather than necessarily going straight for the recap. Because it's easier to secure a base which is partially taken rather than one that's been fully taken. Now this is quite a dangerous tactic, and that's why, yeah, I remember that. It's quite a dangerous tactic to use the helicopter to hover. I don't know what this guy is doing all the way back here, seriously. But he's right back at the hotel. So when I'm doing these, really what I'm doing is just looking at things that I've done wrong, things that I may not have noticed when I was in game, because when you're in game people are shouting at you different things like we need guys at A, we need guys at D, etc, etc, and it can be difficult to really think what's going on in a game, because you're doing your best to sort of fight and deal with things as they happen. So it can be tricky to kind of really sort of break down what you're doing, and what I will do by looking back at the gameplay is to think, okay, I really should have gone here instead of going here, and so on, or why did I do this, why did I do that, and then you take those things on and think about it in the following games that you play. And I think when people have bad rounds or bad games, they often just get frustrated, or I've seen a real common thing is for people to blame other factors, like, oh, I had lag, or this guy did this, or they were cheating, or whatever, or oh my god, my teammates sucked, etc, etc. And people, something that was a big change for me was to have the ability to say, okay, I know what we've done wrong here, or say, okay, I know when I've made a mistake and it was my mistake. I think you can think of it in terms of admitting, like for example right here, okay, I remember this. Now, I came into that room thinking, okay, this is going to be a good place to be, and really it should have been quite obvious that that's probably where those guys were hiding. And so rather than going like, oh my god, fucking campers, and I'm sorry for swearing, but rather than just whinging and going, oh my god, they're camping, blah, 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 you just go, okay, I should think that next time you need to remember that often on this base that is a position where people will stay, and then next time you go up there, just think, okay, I'm going to fire a grenade in there before I go in, or think, okay, as I come in I'm going to have a much more focused attention. I kind of just bumbled into that room there. I wasn't really looking for them, clearly that I wasn't looking for them. I just kind of walked in and was like, oh look, there's a guy. And spotting as well, really important there. Spotting is important even if you're not going to deal with someone, because for example, what I was trying to get back here to B, okay, but I could see those guys moving out. So what I was doing was like, okay, I'm going to mark them so that other people can see them, they can deal with them, they can see where they're coming. Because often in Battlefield you notice when you mark someone, you'll have like 5-6 guys, because people don't mark that much, you'll have a load of other people firing at those guys. So you can mark them, just leave them. So what I was doing was just mark it, leave them to the rest of the guys, and I can focus on getting back to B. And I was quite lucky there that I think Worker spawned on me at the same time that I got in there. Now this game has turned into quite a bad situation, but I wanted to put this one up because it's a really interesting sort of resolution to this game. And taking the Venom helicopter, Venom is really good on this map, on Oman, because it's quite a large open map, and the Venom can be an extremely useful tool. And if you can get good with flying the Venom, it's an amazing vehicle. I wanted to just pick up Worker here, so I was just coming in for a drop. And Worker had called out to me that this carrier was down here at B. So I wanted to pick him up. Unfortunately though, I think I took an RPG in the face there. So I was panicking a little bit, wanted to get out of there. But that's okay, we'll come back and get that base. I've got my Rixer spawned and he's repairing me on board. And again, if you don't know that, guys, it's quite an easy one to know, that basically you can just sit in a passenger seat and repair to your vehicles. I think a lot of people know this, but if you don't, then there you go. It was something that you could do in Bad Company 2 and so on and so on. What I was doing there was just dropping my guys, drop Worker off at D, and then me and Rix are moving up to C. And what we're doing here, you see, attacking from several different directions. And unfortunately the Havoc is coming in on me here. And I'm trying to get my guys. Unfortunately I've got 2 blues now. I've got 2 blues on my gunning. And I now remember shouting, I was like, get the Havoc, get the Havoc, get the Havoc. I was trying my best, but obviously I don't have any actual guns, so I was just trying to fly and get in a good position here. Decided that my guys were not going to be able to take it, so I wanted to just literally escape, get out of there. So I'm trying to fly in a slightly difficult way, make it difficult for the Havoc to follow me here. I'm just staying low and trying to keep close between the buildings as much as possible, so that hopefully he can get bored and go somewhere else, or he'll get distracted by something, and then I'm just coming back down onto C. But what I was trying to do, when they had most of the bases, you see, and I dropped Worker off at D, what I was doing, me and Rix go to C, so that we can try and cap 2 bases at once, okay? And then the thing is that, and again what we've done is come in here on C. Havoc's still chasing me there, look. But yeah, by attacking 2 positions at once, it confuses them because they don't know necessarily which one to go to. What I will often see in games of Conquest where you're getting dominated, if the enemy have capped all the bases up, so they've got all 4, you'll often see what will happen is, you know, your guys will go and try to take 1 base. Now that's obviously going to be a failing thing, because what will happen is as soon as you start to cap that base, the whole enemy team will go to it. So really you need to either do 2 things. You either need to flank, and again I'm taking multiple fire here, so I'm just trying to fly and escape. I'm just trying to keep moving so that my guys can jump out, and you see we've managed to pick up D here. But yeah, you really need to do 2 things. You either need to flank around and try and cap the base furthest away, and in doing that what you're hoping is that they won't be able to get back in time for you to cap it, and it can be like a staging point. I took a lot of fire here and then I couldn't right the heli. The other thing that you can do is what we were doing. Try and use a vehicle or something to drop 1 or 2 people in 2 different locations so that you're taking 2 bases. Then the enemy will find it more difficult to, you know which one of those to make a priority, and then hopefully you can pick up 1, and again it will just give you some leverage to get back in the game, and that's what I was trying to do here. My flying just went right out of the window. I was doing quite well, and then it just went terrible. Okay, mildly better, although it might have helped if I was actually shooting at Carlton there rather than just, you know, beside him, which is sort of what I was doing. Christ's sake. Yeah, like I said, I haven't played for a couple of weeks, and my gameplay is a little bit sketchy today. It's a bit rough around the edges. But yeah, it's very good to watch these back, and that is really often how I, you know, come up with my ideas and all these kind of things. Is, you know, I look at the way we've played. I don't trust other pilots. Akbar's a good player. He was the bane of my gaming for this evening. Everywhere I went, there's Akbar. And this is a good point, being flexible. And you see what's happening here? My guys were shouting out with somebody, please deal with that heli. So I was like, okay, I'll just change up and go Stinger. The changes to the Stinger, which I will mention actually in an upcoming you know, video for Pixel, they're good and bad. Like I've said, the whole below radar thing is a bit ridiculous. And also I'd just like to point out, I know that I'm just standing in the open, which is begging for a sniper to take me down, but I was just trying to take out this heli, so that was my priority. I didn't care if I didn't get killed. And also, like I've said before, you know, don't focus too hard on one thing. So yeah, okay, I was trying to take down a heli, but then also I saw that my guys needed help on C, so I was like, okay, I'll wait with the heli, I'll, you know, put a bit of attention on C for now, and then, you know, when I see it again, I'll get back on it. And also the heli knows that I'm trying to shoot at it, so he was avoiding me anyway. And D we capped and lost, so I decided I'd try and, you know, pull it back on here. Again, marking the tank on its way out so that other people can deal with it. I suddenly realised though that I was going to be kind of outnumbered, so I thought it better to make a kind of running attack here rather than try and deal head on with however many people I was going to be facing. I really need to up my gun skills. That was one thing that I noticed from this evening as well, and it's a good thing to notice. In the week or two that I haven't been playing, my gun skills have gone really out the window. I need to improve my gun skills. So I think the best way to do that, I'm probably going to play, you know, several, you know, maybe 2-3 hours of team deathmatch, just to warm up my gun skills, get used to recoil and things like that, because I really have lost it in terms of gun skill. Often when I'm playing games and stuff, I can kind of get sort of, you know, reasonably, you know, reasonable KD, often sort of around 2 to 1, something like that. But, you know, this evening when I've been warming up and stuff really wasn't great. So again, it's something that, you know, need to just make attention on. This was an epic fail, I have to say, Bob. We were arguing about this. I said I'll fly, but he already took off, and then he was like, oh, I thought you were going to jump into the pilot seat. I was like, but you'd already taken off, and he thought that was going to change out, but we weren't really high enough in the air, so that was a massive fail right there. So you can see at this point in the game we're nearly 100 tickets down, and I was saying that we really are in a very bad situation here. But that's no reason to give up. I've seen many games turn around, and the other thing was that we were playing mostly against each other in terms of clan. You know, it's a lot of VG against VG, so for that reason as well, you don't really want to quit out, because it means that it's not a good game for them. And also, whilst we're losing, it hasn't been like a non-hard fight. They're not totally dominating. It's fairly balanced. We're trading bases, and, you know, overall it's a good game. So, you know, you shouldn't just quit if you're having a bit of a difficult round. And the other thing as well is, if you quit when you have a difficult round, then again, like my point before, you're never going to learn, and that is the only way to improve. You know, you have to go through stages of not being good at something before you get better at it, and a lot of people are saying, oh, you know, another question I've had about is aircraft, and people say, oh, I can't fly aircraft. And it's like, well, is it that you can't fly aircraft, or that you just haven't tried enough to fly aircraft? Because, you know, if you have a good chance, then you're not going to, you know, if you keep practicing, that's the only way you're going to get better at something. Seeing as I only have and this is the other problem, is it's all very good to be flexible, but then it does mean that you can't do things in different areas. So I had to take the Stinger to focus on the aircraft, but then it meant when I was at sea, I couldn't deal with the carrier at sea. You can see the effectiveness there of the ECM. ECM, by the way, okay, This is also coming up in my countermeasures video. I've been testing countermeasures again. A lot of people, when I did my ECM video, going, oh, so you've wasted your time, the ECM's going to change when the patch comes, it's going to be totally different and you're going to have wasted all your time. Yeah, I can report that the ECM functions exactly as it did before. So it works exactly, it works well for helis, and it doesn't work well for jets, basically. There we go, continue my principle of not bothering to knife people and wasting the rounds. That was a bit of a an underestimation there by me. I was like, the driver's jumped out to repair. No, actually the gunner jumped out to repair, and Alter was still in the driver's seat there, gunned me down. Little lack of judgment there by me. So again, still in a bad situation here. We are 100 tickets down now. Probably a good base to be going for right now would be A and B, but unfortunately I don't think I had a buggy available there. I could go back and check, but I really wanted to push back on C. The other thing that can be good to do though, you know, as a little gameplay thing, is that I was going to literally just say that sometimes once a base has been recently taken, if you go back to it and they're already moving on to another base, you can kind of cap it back off them and you can kind of pick up that way. But Conquest is very, very much about preempting and predicting what's going to happen, especially on console, because on console you only have 12 players a team, and trying to control a map like this with only 12 players, it can be a bit full on in terms of moving around and the respawn rate. Do I get a hit here finally? No. See, look at that ECM, it's absolutely, you know, that guy isn't stationary, he's moving around, missile in the air. I think he flared that one, I think he either flared it or moved and ECM'd it. But the ECM is devastating in helis. When it comes to the ECM though, it's something that really bothers me because it's just not consistent, you know. It functions differently. Flares function the same for jets and helis, you know. And people have said to me that they don't think that it works for jets, or they think that it shouldn't work. You know, it shouldn't work the way it does with missiles. I really do take that point on board. I think that's a valid, you know, argument. I think that it does work, but I don't care about that either way. All I really want to do is just have the ECM work consistently. So it should work in one way or the other. So it should either work or not against like missiles in the air, but not kind of half and half like it does now. That took a lot more bullets than I thought to destroy that thing. The reason I was going for that is I was actually driving to C, but then again, being flexible, looking at your things on the ground, changing your thing about what's going to happen, I spotted the SOFLAM there, and I know that Worker had been shouting out that he was getting locked on a lot, so I wanted to take that one down, because I think we decided that the SOFLAM was, he was like, I'm getting locked on by a SOFLAM. Also, can I just bring up what happened there? As I was coming to C, you saw that I came under fire and I got down behind that concrete block. Now, a lot of the time when people come into a situation like that, okay, what will happen is they will try to take on the person that's shooting at them, okay, and they will try and like maybe edge round or pop up, return fire. And okay, some situations I will do that, but in that situation I just felt like he'd suppressed me really well. I felt like I couldn't see where he was, okay, I didn't know where that fire was coming from precisely. I knew it was in front of me somewhere, but to try and jump up, find the target and take them out, he already knows where I am and he's already watching me. Okay, so he has a huge advantage. So I didn't want to kind of take him on directly. So look what's happened now, okay? Instead of taking on that guy, and what would probably have happened is I probably would have been killed, okay? Instead of that, I just quickly jumped up, ran into the building, flanked a little bit, got onto a position where I could see where he was. I managed to put a bit of fire into those guys and we capped up the base. Seriously, need to improve my gun skills, what the hell. But anyway, I think that just proves again another thing of like, you know, being willing to, you know, not directly encounter your enemy all the time. Like I've said before, sometimes the best option is to not engage the enemy, but to move around them. Okay, now we've got D, we've got C. I'm looking at the bases that are currently being taken, so I've got the buggy and I'm going to bomb it here down to B. And I got Rix with me. But I spotted these guys leaving and they're going to A. So I really didn't want to let... I think it's Alter and... I didn't want to... Yeah, and Carlton. I didn't want to give them the opportunity of getting to A. And I hate myself for doing it, but it was kind of fun to pick up those cheap rogue kills. I really wanted to stay in the buggy so that I could move onto the next base. So that's why I'm staying here. However, we're getting some fire, so I hopped out. Now again, we're still 100 tickets down, but we do seem to be playing a bit better here. We're getting used to the movement of bases. We're getting used to the movement of bases, how to cap them, how to re-secure them. Conquest, a really important thing to say as well is that if a base is being, taken from you, it's much better to try and secure that base than go for another one. Often what I see in Conquest is people going really hard attack and they go from base to base to base. So they're like, cap it and run, and cap it and run, and cap it and run. That is a good thing to do, because it's momentum, it's speed, it's knocking the enemy off their feet. That is a good thing to do. However, it is also really important to make sure that you secure what you can. Because it's a lot easier to secure a base than cap a new one. Because to cap a new one, you have to, you have to start securing it, then you have to get your guys to, neutralize it, and then you have to cap it up. So there's like, 3 sort of stages there. Whereas to secure it, all you have to do is kill them and then build it back up again. So it is a much better way to go with that. So we're coming up to the last section of the game now, and as you can see, we're still way behind the enemy in terms of bases, but this, I think, right now is about the turning point for us in this game. And we really are sort of going all out now. Our guys are moving faster, harder, they're getting into all the bases, they're doing stuff like this. So I'm like capping a base, jump on the heli, repair it up, off they go to the next base, I'm getting back on my jeep, so it's all about this. And this is what Conquest should be like. It should be fast, hard, and you should really be, as soon as a base is about to finish being capped, you need to be moving. And I remember that this is what I used to say. Actually, I just remembered, this is going to be a key thing for me, that I used to say when I played World of Warcraft, because when I played World of Warcraft we were masters at playing Arathi Basin, and Arathi Basin was basically Conquest. It was a 5-base king and 5-base Conquest, really. And what I always used to say to those guys was, here's me by the way trying to dance around with a tank. What I always used to say with that was, when you're capping a base, you need to move to the next base as it finishes capping, okay? Not once it's finished and then you go, okay, where are we going to move to next, okay? You need to be waiting for that base to cap, and if there's a couple of people there, you need to leave before it does. So if you feel like it's secure, okay? Let's say I was at C, there's 3 guys with me, we're about sort of a quarter left to cap the base, okay? Start moving. Don't wait for it to finish and then go. Start moving, okay? Because speed moving is really important all the time. And it's all about this momentum. It comes back to what I've said before: objective, momentum, flexibility. It's the core of the gameplay that you should be doing, okay? You should be looking at the objectives that you've got on the ground. Where are the ones that you need to be at? The momentum, you've got to keep the speed up. You have to keep the speed all of the time. And then the flexibility, you've got to change on the ground. Are they using a lot of aircraft? Is that causing you a problem? Have they got tanks? Are they just running in with the tanks? Is there a lot of snipers? You've got to look at what's causing you a problem and then evaluate how you're going to deal with that. We did a little bit of an aircraft change mid-air. That's what we tried to do on the aircraft carrier before, but as you saw, it failed quite hugely. And I was calling out to Trev here, left gun, havoc in the air. And he's trying to take us down with air missiles. If you're in the Venom and you're trying to take down an attack heli, and you see there, Graham actually took that guy out, not us. But we were being a good distraction. But yeah, if you're in the Venom and you know, you're trying to deal with an attack heli, don't try and sit at range, okay? Because probably what's going to happen is they'll probably take you out with AA rockets or the attack helicopter's rocket pods. If you're in a Venom, the best thing to do is to try and hug them with your helicopter, and then use the miniguns obviously to take them down. Oh yeah, we were getting shot to pieces by a tank here. You could just hear the amount of fire that I was taking there. But basically we were trying to keep control of several bases here, and look at the point difference already. Just by doing that really hard rush we had a minute ago on the bases, we've managed to make up about 30 tickets already. Me, Trev and Rex now just capping up using the heli. This is a great tactic as well. It's kind of cheap in that you know, it's a bit easy, but it's a really good tactic to use. Trev got shot out of the heli there. But yeah, this is good because it does help you like cap the bases very quickly, and you can move on to the next one. The great thing as well, it's kind of dangerous, but it is good if you can fill up your helicopter and then park on the bases. Obviously it will take the base much more quickly, so again that can be a kind of good, if slightly abusive tactic. I know it's very annoying, and I know on Firestorm people really hate that, because what they would do is park this heli on top of the Conquest bases, and you know, it can be really good. I think I might need to do another video. I did a video for Bad Company 2, and it's the same principle with this. The miniguns on these aircraft. People are no good with the miniguns. It's not very often that you'll actually get a gunner who's good with the miniguns. And I think a little how-to with that would be good. And now I've got my own server, I'll be able to do that actually. I'll get some of my clan guys together and shoot them up. Okay, but as I say, we're coming up to the end now. This has been a long one, so congrats if you've put up with me chatting all the way through this one. But look at the point difference now. We're down to 20. Only 20 difference. Maybe not even that, is it? It's more like 15. But you can see that this game has come right down to the end, and you know, it's very difficult to say because I can't see the whole battlefield what has caused this change around. But I think from seeing the way our guys are playing, that as I've said before, when you get towards the end of a game, people start to play harder and faster, more than they do at the start. And I think it's because mainly in the start of a game, people are kind of, you know, they're like, oh, we got plenty of time, we don't need to focus too hard. Then towards the game, they really want to win, and they're like, okay, we've got to fight harder, harder, harder. And I was saying to my guys now, look, it's not over, but we can totally win this one back. We can do this. Because all the way through this game, you know, as I say, we were about 100 tickets down most of the round. And I was just thinking, oh my god. I ditched the jet here because I was like, screw this. Being in the jet is not helping us at all. We need to cap these bases. We need to cap these bases to win. So I was getting on the ground. And I've said that before in another video, you know, you've got to look at what's going on. You know, don't just screw around in a jet. If you're not really doing anything constructive, you know, drop it. You need to look at what you need to do, okay? And in this situation, we needed these bases, so I was dropping that fast. I was calling for help from my guys here because I was saying, look, I'm in a good position at D, but I need some help. I think there was another epic fail from me coming up here. But again, look at this. We're only 8 tickets apart now from 100 and, well, it was 130 at one point, I think. Look, see what happened right there? Ah. Need to get those gun skills back up, guys. Yeah, I fired my trigger too quick and it alerted Panda to the fact that I was there. Just gave him the chance to run away. I should have just dropped down and knifed him. That is what I should have done, isn't it? Always me saying that we shouldn't knife, but in that situation it would have been a good thing to do. Okay, I could have spawned on the guys, but I was thinking, okay, you know, the enemy base is much closer in terms of getting support to the ground, and I really wanted to get some extra firepower in there, so I thought, okay, I'm going to take the Viper. Unfortunately, if you look at my air radar right now, I had a small problem. I dropped my ECM, and I was trying to jink to get away from the guns, but I had a tank, 2 jets, and the heli on me. But good point to make out here. Look, see how much air support they've got up in the air. That's going to be at least 4 people. which is a third of their team is in the air right now, and that is really not what they need. They need people on the ground. You know, we've only got 10 tickets between it. Well, it was 10 tickets when I was saying that. They need to prioritise and get their people on the ground, their tanks moving back and stuff. Oh, what a lucky javelin kill that was. I've been trying to take on board what people were saying to me as well. A lot of people are saying you're not using javelins right. When you're firing them unguided, you should just point the javelin straight up in the air and then let it go, and it flies a bit better onto the target, which I have been trying to do, and I have to say it does make a difference. I was changing back up to Stinger here to try and help take down this heli. So again, just looking at what we need to do. It's a bad thing that I did that though, because this APC is coming back in. How does he not notice me doing that? And now look at this, we've brought it back up level. So this has been a quite great round, guys, and this is why I wanted to bring it. This is just, you know, it shows that, you know, things can happen in a game, you can change it, you can win it, if you just stay with it and you fight really, really hard, and you take on board all of the things that you need to be aware of, and, you know, you try and encourage your team to do the same. So I want to say thanks for watching, guys. There was a weird glitch though, unfortunately, at the end of this. We did actually crash out the game. It didn't, you know, finish completely. However, I went on to battle log straight away because I was like, I'm not having this not proved at the end. So you can see up here the battle log results of our win at the end. Thanks for watching, guys. Please leave comments, questions, and more videos from me coming soon.